welcome to Collabsolutely, the podcast for people who know business is better together. You're here with Jacquie, Hannan and Sarah Duncan. We're business besties, founders, and your new favourite hype squad.
Certainly are. Hello. We're also co-founders of Collabsolutely.com, and we're all about supporting entrepreneurs with money, marketing, and mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we are. And I'm Jacquie. I've got over 20 years experience in finance, tax, accounting, wealth creation.
Oh, no one else.
Yeah, well, that's right, Sarah. That's why you're in the company.
Amazing. It's amazing. And I'm Sarah, and I've spent the last 20 plus years in the digital marketing, social media, and traditional media space.
You certainly have. What a talent.
Yes.
What a talent.
High five to us.
High five. Oh, we're here to chat about all things business with our own little personal take.
Whether you wanted it or not.
Oh, yeah. Sarah's got a few personal takes. I'll tell you that.
Personal. Coming up on today's show, we have our Love It or Leave It segment where we share one thing in business we're absolutely loving right now or something that we'd happily chuck in the bin.
Yeah.
Forever.
And today we're covering off sales funnels. I'm hoping that you can enlighten me on this one. I know a little bit, but the bit that I know has come from you. So
you know a great deal about
I know a lot. It's true.
You do. You are an absorber of all the information.
Yes.
I love you for it.
Well, I'm lucky that I get to work with one of the geniuses of marketing. You've taught me a lot.
Oh, who is this genius and where can I find them?
Her name's Sarah Duncan.
One of my many childhood nicknames.
Oh my, you can tell we're childhood friends because I was going to run Dunkaroo.
Dunkaroo, Pumpkinhead.
Pumpkinhead.
Sarah Pumpkinhead.
I did not run the pumpkin.
Yeah.
Now that I know it.
Sarah Dunkaroo, Sarah Duncan.
Yes, that was
What
a good one.
else?
That was one of my favourites. I like the Dunny can.
Creative.
That's good. Where were we? Sales funnels. Are we loving it or leaving it?
I love it.
I love it.
The end.
The end. All right, next segment. Well, what's the case for not loving sales funnels? Who's not loving it?
Who's not loving money in the bank? Come on, people. You know what I think might be holding people back from investing the time into creating a sales funnel is they might think it's a bit complicated, it's a bit hard, and they just think that perhaps by being present online that's enough to get the sale.
Sure.
Businesses are vying for attention all the time. They're competing with not just other businesses in your industry, but businesses in other industries, parents, friends, cousins content as well, news outlets. The amount of content that is out there it's wild. So if you don't have a sales funnel in place, you're absolutely leaving money on the table. You just are. And it doesn't have to be overcomplicated. It can be as simple as a 3-step plan.
I was going to say, Sarah, what is a sales funnel? For sales, I know for sure, but
I know.
Might be others that don't know.
Well, you think about just say someone comes to your website. Something like 90+% of people who reach a website are not in a position to buy. They're not ready to buy.
90+. So
90+%.
So most people.
Most people, 9 out of 10 people who are visiting any whatever website it is, whether it's ours, yours, whoever's, they're not in a position to buy at that particular moment in time. So if they bounce off that website, they think, okay, I'm going to do some research about something that I may want to purchase in the future. I'm going to have a look. I'm going to do a quick little Google. I'm going to go on social media, do some research, come to the website, bounce off forever.
That's
gone.
Easy.
So if you don't have a sales funnel in place, and that might be capturing their name and email address in exchange for something, could be in exchange for a coupon code, could be a free resource of some description, could be joining a newsletter. If you're not capturing them while they're in that research phase, it's going to be really challenging to get back in front of them again. You're going to have to pay money to get in front of them. And you might have already spent money to get in front of them in this regard as well, in order to get
already invested in your website, and then people are getting there 9 out of 10.
Or through an ad even. You might already be investing in people.
That's a good point.
Jumping onto your website. If you're not capturing them when they're showing interest, it's really hard to get them back again. You've got to spend more money.
I can see why some people are saying, oh, we'll leave sales funnels not for us, but I think it's because they're not executing it properly.
And they might just not even know how to do it.
Yeah,
perhaps.
for sure.
Yeah.
So sales funnels done properly, how do you feel about that within businesses?
Oh, it's necessary. It's absolutely necessary because the world that we live in now, there's so much content out there. Everything is very competitive. Everything is vying for our attention on our phones, on our TVs, on our laptops, wherever, in our ears as well, in terms of, listening to podcasts and audiobooks and things like that, listening to the news. There's advertising absolutely everywhere. So in order to cut through is really challenging. If people are already getting to the place of researching you, landing on your website or your social account or whatever it might be, provide a next step.
Yeah, that's good.
Provide an in.
Because they're coming, because the sales funnel, like when we talk about sales funnel, I'm literally picturing a funnel. And it starts out and you've got the colder audiences and then you're warming them up as it comes to the funnel. And if they're landing on your page and there's not necessarily something to put your hooks in, dare I say, that you can continue that connection, that relationship, that communication, then they bounce and you can never see them ever again.
It's hard to get them again.
Yes. So how do we put the hooks in them?
Put the hooks in
them. What does that look like?
It starts with it's capturing some kind of information from them, usually an email address.
Yeah.
So you're able to provide more context about who you are, how you can help them, what products and services you provide, and then they become part of what we call a nurturing email sequence.
Yes, yes.
So yes, they get an email to begin with, and that might be to deliver a worksheet or a free coupon code or something like that. But then that conversation continues, and that's an opportunity to share who you are, what you do, how amazing you are. But then it also leads to a sale. It leads to a conversion. It leads to sharing, okay, you were interested in this thing that I gave you for free. Here's something that is paid, that is better, that's going to help you more. And that is how you get people to go from hearing about you, knowing you exist, to become part of your wider ecosystem. And your email won't be the only part of the story. It'll also be, how you show up online, on your website, on your Instagram account, on social media, publicity that you might do, all those kinds of things. But if we're not actively in touch with people over the course of them being, aware that we exist, it's really easy for them to be like, oh, well, your competitor has emailed me, has shared all these things that they can help me with. They're top of mind now when I actually need to make a purchase.
And I think, I think there's a couple of things. I think there's sometimes people don't know how to actually go about setting that up, number one. And so I'm sure that you'll be able to give some tips and tricks on that. Possibly not understanding the importance, but we've got some stats. You mentioned, I think it was 96% of people who visit websites
96. I didn't even know it was that high. It was 90 plus.
Almost
that's
100%.
Wild.
So that's only 4% of people who are landing on your website in general are ready to purchase. But also, I thought this was really interesting from our research. $44 is the return for every $1 spent on email marketing. Where can you go and spend $1 and return
$44?
That rate of return for a numbers girly.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And there are people who are saying, email's dead. No one's checking their emails anymore. And I was kind of in that camp because I know personally I'm really disorganized. So my email list is just wild. But there are so many policies in place now, the legalities of making sure that people can unsubscribe from content that they don't want to receive. This is actually a benefit because now people in their emails, they're just getting stuff that they actually want to receive. So they're much more active in checking what those emails are. So I think that's really promising.
I think that Outlook, I know Microsoft as well as Gmail, they both group marketing material.
Yes, separately.
Non-focus material.
Yeah.
I think for me that's really good. I've got an additional AI that even further breaks it down into marketing, but I don't unsubscribe from things. Even if I don't look at them all the time, I will go to my marketing list for me personally and I will go through that list.
Yeah.
And I will unsubscribe if there's something that I definitely don't want to be receiving. Yeah. But I like the idea of still receiving things.
Yeah.
Even if I don't read it every time.
Just knowing.
I browse the list and things change. I look for the headers.
Yeah.
I look for something topical.
Yeah.
And something that I might be interested in. And then, so I'm still looking high level. I might not read every email, but for me personally, I know that's what I do.
Totally. And you will often send me an email and say, hey, I got this email from this business. I really liked this email. I thought it was great. I learned a lot from it. Yeah, exactly.
That's why I do maintain, because I'm also looking from a research perspective as well. But for me, it's learning. It's not always, I'm a bit of a nerd. so I was
Jacquie.
So the things I'm consuming are tips and tricks to do business, marketing tips, business finance tips, AI. These are the things, or it could be compliance changes, things that we need to be aware of, legislative changes or topical news, things that are impacting the people that we're working with. So education is such a vital and critical thing for me. And when I can get on an email list of somebody who's keeping me up to date with things,
amazing,
fantastic.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah. So look out for an opportunity to provide value, like real value, not just I want to convert you to a sale value, like real value to your customers, clients, potential customers and clients, so that they're much more likely to open your emails and take an action down the track once they're ready and primed and, ready to purchase whatever it is that, you're offering.
I think that what you said there is really critical, because the ones that I am opening, and there's certain emails that I will look for because I know that they will offer me value and I will read them, and might not always be groundbreaking every week or month or however often it is weekly that they are sending it out. But I still open them because I know that they do provide helpful information and they give me value. And they might have a little bit of a sales pitch, but often it's just down the bottom. It's the end of the email. I go, hey, if you want to do something, click
if you want more
button.
about this.
And it doesn't feel salesy for me. I'm like, I like that they want to tell me how I can engage with them and opportunities for me to do more work with them. That's brilliant, fantastic. But it doesn't take away from the fact that the email itself is valuable. I'm getting information from it as well.
Yeah. And there's nothing worse than receiving 5 emails in a row that are just about the sale and, you're not getting anything out of it. And, those end up in the junk folder and you unsubscribe from them pretty quickly.
Yes.
So if you can add real value, use it as an opportunity to tell your story, share information with people, and use it as a platform to share another part of you and your experience and your expertise or whatever it is that makes you amazing.
Yeah, we talk about the unfair advantage. What is unique about you? Tell your story. Connect with people. I remember reaching out to someone and said, I've never met you, but I feel like we know each other because their writing was so personable and they really shared insights about themselves. You mentioned something about a 3-step process.
Yes.
What are the 3 steps? Is it really just that easy? 3 steps?
I think that it is. You create a freebie, whether that's a checklist or a coupon or, whatever it is. So you have to create it in the first place. And then you capture people who are interested in that once they get to your website. So whether that's on your homepage or on a specific landing page, so people exchange their details for whatever the freebie is. And then they go into an email sequence that works towards building that trust, building that rapport, providing value, but ultimately makes you top of mind when they are ready to make a purchase in the area that you are positioned in. And that's all it is. It doesn't have to be this very technical, long-winded 6-week plan that people have to execute. It can literally be create whatever the freebie is, set up the infrastructure so people can fill in a form.
There's lots of places that you can use.
You can do that, yeah. MailChimp free. There are free platforms that allow you to create these.
You don't even have to spend any money.
You don't even have to spend any money. You can create a landing page within MailChimp and MailerLite and all these different programs. You have to create whatever it is. It could be a free consultation. A lot of people do free consultation, a free quote. That could be part of it as well. And then create the emails segment so that people are receiving information from you that they actually want because they've already gotten to a stage where they're researching you. They're already investigating what you do. And that highlights to us that they're interested in whatever our product or service is. So we just want to make sure that we're still around when they're thinking about actually following through with the purchase.
Yeah. So I think we've looked at the stats, $44 return for every dollar spent.
Amazing.
We know that most people, 96% of people who are visiting your website are likely not going to purchase. And so you need to start, I like to think of it as dating.
Yeah.
You don't go out with someone on a date
after
after they marry you.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Straight off the bat.
No, you go on a couple of dates, you nurture the relationship, you got to build trust. They might not even know if your product or service is a thing that they want to buy, or they might not be ready to purchase at that time. So putting that in is going to, in fact, 10 times higher conversion with the lead magnet funnel, which is like when you throw those numbers out there, you'd be silly not to.
It'd be silly not to.
So if we're talking about sales funnels, how do we feel about it, Sarah?
Ding, 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 ding. I'm a big fan.
Yep.
And you can do this organically. You can do it with paid, ad spend behind it. We do both. And, we've got an e-newsletter little, form on our website. We often get random people just filling that out to be on our newsletter. We're not actively promoting it in any way. And that's wonderful. How great that there's an opportunity for them to stay connected with us rather than just bounce off.
And I think you said something as well and I know we sometimes work with construction businesses and they go, well, I don't have a digital product. I don't have
free consultation, free quote.
Free quote. And we know somebody in our community.
Yes.
Fantastic results.
Yeah.
Fantastic results. Huge results.
Yeah.
In terms of return on investment, they invested, how much was it?
$35.
$35 and returned
$85,000.
What? What?
That's crazy.
That is ridiculous.
And that's not the benchmark. We're not saying that's going to happen for everybody.
Should expect those levels.
That or nothing.
I mean, that's phenomenal. But the point is that you really can.
And their price point for their product was higher, of course. Like if your product's $50, you're not going to see that return with a $35 ad spend. But what if you weren't doing that?
Yeah.
Like,
100%. How to
cost that would be. Yeah, exactly.
And also the free quote, yes, it does take time. That's a challenge sometimes with construction industries is that it takes time. But still, even for them to allocate the time to do that quotation that converted, they've obviously got doing the right thing in the sense that they had high conversion on those quotes.
Yes.
People accepted them. So I think for me, in terms of sales funnels, I love them. And I think you can do them all different ways, but I think it's essential within your business.
It's essential. I don't know how people are making money without a sales funnel. Honestly, we turned off our sales funnel recently, a few months ago. We haven't had a steady stream of clients, clients coming in, new clients coming in.
Not new clients,
because we turned the switch off.
Yes, and we could there are definitely businesses, and I'm sure there's other business out there is getting word of mouth, and we get word of mouth.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
but not new people.
It's unpredictable.
It's unpredictable.
It's unpredictable.
Yes, we don't have people contacting us on a regular basis. That is like a tap that you can turn on and off. No, it's not. It doesn't have that level of predictability.
No,
for sure.
No, bring on a sales funnel every day of the week.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's jump into Hot Biz Takes. This is where we dive a little deeper into one aspect of business in the areas of money, marketing, or mindset.
And today's topic is overnight success myth is doing psychological damage to founders in the messy middle.
Gosh.
Certainly is.
Yeah. It's doing damage to me. But
What's the messy middle? What's the overnight success myth, Sarah? Tell us.
The middle is the bit between starting and getting some level of success, isn't it? That could be a year, 3 years, 10 years. Like, who bloody
15,
knows?
I think
you don't know. And you don't know until you're at the other end of it, do you? You don't know how long that messy middle is.
I think that's why it's so messy, because you don't know if it's 6 months, 12 months.
You don't know if tomorrow's the day.
Yeah, where you break through and you live in hope, but you don't
live, you pray.
You live, you pray and hope. And I think, I remember sharing this with you. There was a graph very early on, and I shared it with you, and I said, Sarah,
what did you say?
This is us. And the graph was like the business cycle. So you start off and you're
so excited.
So excited.
I feel like I'm always in.
You're always, well, that's the thing. You can reinvent it, but you start off really excited. And what happens is, what tends to happen is it comes up.
Yeah, and you're like, wow.
Yes.
So, this is a good change. Wow.
And then what happens is the hard work.
Bravo.
That's when the bit that kicks in where you go, oh, actually, business isn't easy.
Yeah.
People don't just magically
Just figure it
out.
Yes.
And just magically, I've got to pivot, I've got to change. Actually, I've got to do sales, marketing, bookkeeping, finance, work everything out.
Plus, do all your home chores.
Yeah, you
be
still
a
got to wash the dishes. Yeah, exactly. Do all the things and be a
functioning
person, a sister, a brother, a cousin. Be functioning. Look after your own health. So I think when people take that on, they realize the level of commitment that's required. And if you don't have the passion, the drive, the tenacity, the want, the will, then I think that...
And then you see someone on social media and you think, they've done it overnight.
Yesterday, they got
I didn't know who they were.
30 vehicles, bought a new commercial property. Yeah. And you think, gosh, what am I doing? I suck.
That's hard. And then, but then you realise, actually, they didn't start yesterday.
No.
They started 15 years ago.
100%.
And then,
but you don't know that on Instagram.
You don't know
and what you're seeing on Instagram or the social...
You get the highlights reels.
You get the highlight reels and you think, they started yesterday and like magic. You don't know if they've got... Some people might actually make...
I'm sure there are people out there.
But they might have capital behind them.
Yeah.
They might have other things that are supporting them, helping them in that journey. And it's very dangerous to... We've talked, I think, in previous episodes about the comparison game. But I think we've got a stat here, Sarah. I don't know if you want to...
Tell me.
Yeah, I will share it with you. Do you know that the average time to overnight success.
What's the average time?
7.5 years.
I bloody knew it.
Oh, God, we've got another 5 years to go. But I think I've shared things with you, as we do. I'm like, Sarah, check these people out. Look what they're doing. And then we go digging a little deeper and find out they've been around for 15 years.
They've always done this.
Yeah. And I think that's what can catch people where... Canva's a really good example.
Yes.
Canva. I think I've got some in our research notes here. Let's have a look because I know that it's well renowned with regards to Mel and the work she did.
Yeah,
but
that's
Canva
right.
took 3
They were knocked back so many times.
Years of rejections before funding.
Yeah.
And the number of people, I think it was 100 investors that Melanie Perkins pitched and was rejected by for over 3 years before getting funding.
Yeah.
Tell you what, talk about tenacity.
I just think that's the reality that we had a business owner recently say, I want to get this thing out. I've pitched it to, 3 people and no one said yes yet. I'm like, try pitching to 3,000 people first and then come back. Keep going.
Yeah, I think one very famous person I aspire to be, Colonel Sanders. And I
do love a KFC chippy.
Was your first job, I believe, Sarah, from memory?
Or second job. Second job. I was at a fruit shop.
Of course, your fruit shop. Yeah, my apologies. Yes. But Colonel Sanders. And that was somebody who was... even more stats to add to it in their retirement age, 60s. And everyone said, well, what do you know? You're retired. Yeah. Went around trying to sell his famous chicken to people. But I love this. And we often, J.K. Rowling is another
same
one. Rejected many, many, many times.
Stephen King.
Yes.
Rejected like hundreds of times.
Yep. Yeah. I honestly think success comes down to who can stand in the longest.
I completely agree.
Because I don't know if it is talent.
I don't know. Well, there's an element of talent. But I think it's smaller.
Yeah.
I think the percentage is smaller in talent than it is in tenacity and just like keeping going. Because I reckon there would be people who are in that messy middle who are thinking, I should have figured this out by now. This is getting too hard. I don't believe in myself anymore.
Yeah.
Well, and then just quit.
Yeah. And you can imagine why, because to be honest, I don't know if there's been times, like I started my accounting practice about 15, 16 years ago. Could be stubbornness, but I think there definitely have been times that it has been really challenging. Yes. I'm talking about anxiety attacks. Totally. I'm talking about crying at night thinking, I don't know how I'm going to pay wages tomorrow. I don't know how to get through this. I've got, we've had issues, maybe even sometimes legal challenges where there's a threat there that something's been mismanaged or incorrect and we're trying to manage it the best way possible. There have been legislative changes. There was COVID. In fact, half of our team at the time ended up with severe anxiety and mental health challenges because of the stress and the pressure that we went through. I think it's only been the last 2 years that I'm still coming out of the impact of those things.
No doubt.
And so that's what it looked like. And so sometimes I think, am I insane? It almost seems like sometimes you have to have this other. There's got to be something else that's driving. It's not like, I want to make money.
To be a business owner.
I want to be a business owner. Thank you very much.
It's got to be bigger than that.
No, it has to be because, again, I don't know if it was stubbornness or whatever it was, but there was this inner calling, if you will, that said, no matter what.
Keep going, Jacquie. Never give up.
And it might be my sense of responsibility, my love for my clients and my team members and for my family they like food.
Yeah, they like to survive.
They like to survive. But there have been really, really tough times in business, many tough times, many grey hairs I have
sprouted.
That's what I tell my children. I said, well, you go onto the level of stress and this is what it looks like. So I do get the messy.
Yeah.
I do get that. And we see it time and time again. In fact, we have developed our own method called the messy to money method. Right. And this is something that has come from our own personal experience, like over 20 years experience. You and I started our own individual businesses very young. We've always been entrepreneurs.
That's right.
I think you started blogs and sales funnels before it was even a thing people knew what it was. You were out there doing your thing, which I always admired. And we've done the messy, and from those years and years, over 20 years, 40 years combined, and not only within our own businesses but working with others, we've developed this messy to money method. And it's taking that messy middle and going, well, how do I get from there to the next level? And one of the important components of that, it's got to be the community and it's got to be the coaching and support. Yeah. And I think one thing that was one of the biggest mistakes or challenges, I want to say mistakes, I'm going to call it learning opportunities that I had, was that I tried to do everything by myself and work it out by myself. A bit like my kids, and I have a go at them now. They want to be independent, and I appreciate that. I love them being able to try to work things out by themselves. But there's a reason why all the famous sportsmen and
get help,
have coaches.
They have help.
They have help. They have support and guidance from people who know what they're doing. And I think there's something to be said for that. So I think this messy middle, I think it can feel like this really, really, really challenging time if you don't get support, if you don't get help, if you don't reach out to people who know, who've been there before. But also when you're really close to things, it's really hard to see.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can't see it clearly when you're that close. But I would also like to challenge us to, and, obviously not in those moments where we're having anxiety attacks and, not sleeping for weeks, but to appreciate the messy middle as well and actually experience it.
Yeah.
And not just be like, okay, I just started and now I want to be at the top immediately. I just want to go from messy to an absolute expert and amazing immediately.
Takes time.
It takes time. And I think we have to kind of enjoy as much as you can, like not in those really dark
anxiety attacks.
Not the anxiety attacks, but have an element of enjoying the process and being in the moment rather than, because that's kind of what brings that anxiety up in the first place.
I was going to say, I think the anxiety and attack feels like the pressure, like thinking back on it now, is the pressure that I likely put on myself, not getting help and support and feeling like I had to do it by myself.
And I should already be over here. Why am I not here?
Yeah, it was probably a standard that was set. Yeah, for sure. And that's, I always talk about the things that I love about you, Sarah. I'm adding that to the list. But I think it's, when we...
So glad it's on tape.
When we started business together, I know I was like, because in my defense, I'd worked in a number of businesses, started a number of businesses, and it was like hit the ground running, making money immediately. Day dot, making money, profitable, happy days.
Yeah.
What we did was different because we built.
So we didn't make money.
We didn't make money. We didn't make money. And that was really challenging.
That was really hard.
And it was a different business model. And it was a business model, the one that I had previously been in. It was swapping my time for money.
Yeah.
So I immediately went, here's my service. Someone paid me, done. You know. But the problem with that, I was capped by, let's call it 40 hours in a week. Or, you know, 100 hours if I was working more. But it was capped by the time, the hours that I had in the day. What we have been working on, continue to work on, is building out something that's going to push beyond that ceiling.
Yes.
But it means that you got to do the groundwork. Like when you're working on a building, you see like nothing, because they're working on the foundation.
And then
bam, the building's up. You think, oh, it came up overnight. And it's like, well, it's because all the groundwork they've been doing.
And how much have we learned in the messy?
Oh, so good.
We've learned so much in that messy middle period, which, you know, we're still in the messy middle period ourselves.
We are,
like,
I don't know if we ever get out of the messy bit.
But like that's kind of why we've got to enjoy it.
Yeah, for sure.
We've got to take stock and see how far we've come from yesterday and last month and last week. And if we're not looking back and seeing, oh, we've actually done so much.
Yeah.
That's when, if it's too much focus on the future, then that's where the anxiety and the pressure and
that's what anxiety, isn't it? Anxiety comes from anticipation or fear related to the
don't I know it?
Not living in the present.
Don't I know it?
And I think, I mean, that again is one of the wonderful things, because I think my approach, the way in which, you know, I've conducted business in the past, probably why I've sat in that anxiety level, is focusing on the future. You know, I'm the one pushing the 20-year plan and you're like, well, let's live in the present. And I think there's an element of that does come into play, the risk management planning head and so on and so forth.
Of course.
Being present, living in the moment, learning from the opportunities that we have that are presenting to us. And I think just as you said, there's fun that can come from the messy. I love it. Now I'm embracing it. First I was like, what is this messy?
Too. Yeah.
And now I
embrace it.
Love the messy.
Because that's where the knowledge comes from. That's where the wisdom comes from. It's experiencing the messy stuff.
Yeah. And I think that's where you earn your stripes as well.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where you build your resilience. That's where you build your tenacity. Those are the things, like how many times you hear about, in fact, your husband, he's in his business. How long has he been working for the business he's in?
Oh,
forever.
14 years. 13, years. 14, 15.
And he's for a while. For a while. And he started from, you know, at the entry type level. Yeah. And now he's worked his way high up in the business, which is fantastic. Yeah. But that experience, that expertise that he now has,
so valuable,
would have been from that stuff that he'd built up. And I know many times in business that I've done the same. I started from the entry level and I worked myself up. Every single stripe has helped me to be where I am today.
Exactly.
I think it's all essential. That messiness.
The messiness is essential. It's imperative. You have to go through it. And if you can enjoy it along the way, why not?
Yeah, 100%.
That one day you'll have your moment and other people will think you are an overnight success too.
Oh, no psychological damage.
No, we're fine. But it can have an impact. Just be careful and mindful of, you know, who you are looking towards and who you're looking at and thinking, oh, they just did it so quick.
Yeah.
And do a bit of research. It's
7.5 years is the average. I mean, if you're sitting anything less than 7.5, remember average. So there'll be some more, some less. But if you're sitting less than that, the chances are you still got a bit to go. Sorry. Bunker in.
All right, our next segment is Send Help, where our community asks us a question and we share our coaching live. We have a very special non-anonymous question today.
Yes, this person let us use their name and they're wonderful in our community. They've almost been there from the beginning. Almost from the beginning. So this is the wonderful Lucy, who we love dearly. She's from Porada Advisory. I might put a little bit of a plug for her business here.
Absolutely. So, we'll share links to Lucy and Porada in the show notes.
Wonderful Lucy. Lucy is an accountant. She's a wonderful CA and she does a lot of work with not-for-profits actually, and helps them to understand their numbers and becomes a financial business bestie.
That's right.
Just like we like to be. And, you know, she just has the biggest heart. And us numbers people can be unique. We know that. We know there's not a lot of people that get it. And sometimes we take it upon ourselves to help others crack the code when it comes to numbers and show them that it doesn't have to be overwhelming and scary, that you can have that too. So shout out to the wonderful Lucy. We love you. And the question we have from Lucy is, how do I get in front of the right audience? That's a good one.
That's a good, nice one, Lucy.
Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, Lucy. I'm glad you're thinking about this because such an important one. It's so important. But before we think about how do we get in front of the right audience, we need to figure out what the right audience is.
Yeah. Yep.
Because if we don't know that, we're just guessing.
Yeah,
we're
that's right.
literally just guessing. Maybe they're here. Maybe they're on Instagram. Maybe they're on Pinterest. Maybe they're on YouTube. Maybe they're just checking emails. Maybe they're not online. Maybe they're reading the paper. Like the point is to find out who your audience is in the first place. So then you can start building out an audience profile for them. We do a lot of work on identifying who your audience avatar is, your audience profile, and we get into the nitty-gritty. We don't just talk about, how much income are they earning and, demographic sort of information. We get a little bit deeper in terms of, well, where are they hanging out? What's their name? What do they look like? What's their family life like? What are their values?
Are they on the TikTok? Are they on the Instagram? Are they on the Facebook?
That's
what are they
on? Help
you
identify where they're at. You might even want to do some research, jump into some, Facebook communities and different community groups and see what people are talking about that relate to your business. And, where are they asking the questions? Are they on Facebook? Are they in Reddit? Are they jumping on Pinterest and saving things there? Once you figure out who your audience avatar is, and you have to be quite specific with this, because as we harp on about a lot, if you're talking to everyone, you're connecting with no one. So once you have a really good idea of who your audience is or who you want it to be, then you're going to be able to make so many more decisions with so much more ease in your business. And that includes things, how to get in front of your audience. How do you even do that?
Yeah.
With that information, you're going to be able to make that decision. And it might be something completely different to what you thought. You might have thought, okay, I want to show up on Instagram, when it's actually LinkedIn because it's business to business. So first, have a really good look at who your audience avatar is, who your audience is, before you decide where to find them and how to get in front of them.
That's such a good point, because the analogy I love to use is, imagine that you're fishing in a pond.
Yeah.
But you're fishing in the wrong pond.
Yeah.
You're fishing where somewhere you're never, ever going to find whatever it is you're looking for. You're not even in the right place.
You're fishing in a bathtub.
You're fishing in a bathtub.
The fish aren't even there.
Sorry, mate, but they're never going to bite.
Exactly.
Yeah, so make sure you're actually in the right place first.
Yes.
And
do some research.
Yeah, do some research and know your audience. And part of our Messy to Money method is starting with the ideal client, the avatar, as you call it, as we call it, and knowing who you're actually talking to, who is that target person. Because I think looking at our research that we've conducted is 5.2 times ROI, return on investment, from niche targeting versus broad. And I think for me, what I've experienced, and certainly, as we've worked closer and closer with each other, I'm a numbers girly, but learned more about the marketing side from you, is that when you, like you said, if you try to talk to everyone, you talk to no one. But the minute that you can go, this is who I'm talking to, let's call them Mary. We often joke and call our target. Thanks, Mary. And if you know that Mary is 35 years old and Mary's got 2 kids and she works from home and she likes to go on Instagram, you get really specific about Mary, exactly who she is, what she likes. She likes the funny memes. She used to watch Neighbours as a kid growing up. Whatever it is.
What a reference. What a reference.
And her name's Jacquie. No. So when you get really specific about that, and the messaging that you post on all the platforms, your communication platforms, social media, email, however it is that you're communicating with the world, it's going to resonate with people. It's going to resonate with them. So in terms of connecting with your audience and how to find them, it's, again, just coming back to what you say, making sure you're defining who they are,
who it is in the first place.
Real specifics.
Yeah.
because that's going to be the thing where people go, oh my gosh, they're talking directly to me.
Yeah.
They know me. Yeah. And when you build that trust, they get me, I feel seen. They go, oh, well, this person must have the solution to my issue because they know me so well.
Yeah.
And they've already highlighted and built that credibility as a result.
Exactly. Yeah. And you might have customers or clients, if you're particularly, close to the people that you work with, you might have a current customer that fits that profile too. So you can look at them directly and think, where are they hanging out? Where do they post content? Where do they share content? Where are they showing up? What are their values? And use that as a bit of a baseline for...
That's a shortcut way to do it, isn't it?
You can start creating
we do that all the time.
Profile.
Yeah, rather than having to come up with an imaginary someone, we've got our avatar. I won't say who it is, but we've built our avatar off someone that
who is real. Yeah, exactly.
Someone who's real, and we encourage others to do the same. Think about who you're working with. Yes. Well, their name's Tom, and Tom looks like this and does this. Yeah,
and ask them questions. You can ask them. You could do a survey, or you could ask people individually. Where do you do this? How do you feel about this? How do you feel about pricing? What is of value to you? You can start actually asking your customers and clients by sending a survey or having a conversation, and that can also inform how you build out your customer profile.
I think that's such a good advice. I think the other thing that I've been thinking as well, and I know we talk about this often, again, coming back to the question from Lucy, how do I get in front of the right audience? The thing that I'm very conscious of, that it takes 7 to 12 touch points before a purchase decision.
Yeah.
So I think, and we've talked about this before, that sometimes people think that they post once and they go, oh, that's it, I'm done. Oh, I can't post that same thing again because people will, it's too much. But they don't realize that you're not the centre of everyone's world.
Yes. We are the centre of our own world, so not everyone feels the same way. They're not going to remember.
Yeah, no,
they'll see
7 to 12 touch points. And in fact, I actually had my husband, Aaron, he was saying that he had seen this thing pop up multiple times. And he said it probably was 4 or 5 times. And he realized it was us. It was us. Because it was just, it was a thing, they'd just seen it. Because that's what you do, right? You talk about the scroll, you scroll, you see this thing. And if it doesn't quite grab your attention, but he'd obviously seen it enough to go, actually, what is this thing about? And he said even after watching it, didn't realise. And then I'm like, wait a minute.
I know that.
And again, that 7 to 12 touch points, I'm the same. Like it takes me a bit
over a million times.
It takes me a bit before I can get, or if they've got really strong messaging, like if I'm looking at AI content, I spend a lot of time, invest a lot of time researching AI. It's something that we're heavily involved in and incorporating. And so if somebody posts something and they know about AI,
you'll jump on it.
I'll jump on it quickly. And I'll look at that one. I might look at a second one and go, they know enough. But because the level of understanding and because they are ahead of the market, because it is changing so rapidly. So there's almost an assumption that I make that if they're ahead of the game or if they understand that, then they must investing time. Yeah. Yes. And so sometimes I do shortcut, but then other things, if I'm looking at a new blow dryer.
It'll take you a while.
It'll take me a while.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you think that's about? Like, is there a research and understanding in terms of where some things you can jump straight in and other things you've got to do some more research?
It depends on your personal algorithm too, because if you're actively searching for AI on your computer, on your phone, on social media, you go into websites, Facebook, Meta has identified you as someone who's very interested in AI.
You're listening right now.
And they will know that if I push this content to you, you're likely to click on it, buy something, sign up for something. And they want to keep their clients happy who are paying for the ads. So they're going to be more likely to show it to you because you've demonstrated all that behavior. If you also happened to visit a beauty site once because you needed a hair, piece of hair equipment or makeup or something, you might be a bit lower on the, on the list of people to send information to, but you're still on the list. You're still going to get it. So it might take you a few more times to see that piece of content because you're not actively searching for it as much, but it will still appear. And, it will just probably need to spark your interest more times.
Yeah, it probably depends on, it's probably reflective of whether or not I'm ready to buy it as well. Because I know I was looking at
you're at.
I was looking at a auto cat litter entering thing. And next minute I was ready to buy and I had about 30 ads pop up, which I was grateful for because I was ready to buy. Yeah. So what can our listeners take from that in terms of how they can be on the receiving end of getting in front of like people like Lucy going, how do I crack the code with the algorithm? What's the trick there?
Well, get your messaging right by understanding who your clients are. Because once you get your messaging right, people who are actively searching for you, actively searching for something that relates to you, they're going to see you pop up in their feed. It's more likely that they're going to see you pop up in their feed. And we want to make sure that the barrier to entry is as low as possible. So you're able to communicate that really easily to them so they click.
I think also that consistency of messaging, because I think the challenge is if you go, but I posted that once this month.
No, keep going.
Yeah, it's almost like repeat. And I think of it like brainwashing, but I'm sure there's a more favourable way to
palatable way
to refer to it. But I mean, I think that's what it looks like. Well, it's almost like nagging my children. Like you say eventually it all sort of sinks in and whatnot.
You do need all those touch points because how busy is everyone?
Yeah.
Everyone's so busy. You've got probably a million things on your mind right now as we're doing this podcast that you need to do.
Yeah.
Throw a phone into the mix. You're scrolling away, trying to just chill out and get a break from reality for half an hour. And then all of a sudden there's 500 people trying to vie for your attention.
Yeah.
Like getting that cut through is really challenging.
Yeah.
But if you know who your community is, if you know who you're speaking to and you're able to position yourself in a way that connects with them.
Yeah.
But you can't just do it once.
I think it's critical to spend a lot of time getting the messaging. And I think if I was starting business today, I would almost map out a whole day, a whole week if I needed to knuckle in on who is my avatar, who's my ideal client, and what is the messaging. And I don't think you can spend, you could probably spend too much time on it, but I think
you have to spend time. We spent a whole weekend away to do this. We still didn't get it.
Yeah.
We still didn't nail it. It changed 3 times since.
Yes. We've literally dedicated at least a whole week to nailing that down. The reason why we didn't knuckle it down is because we hadn't probably done enough research. We
were very much in the infancy of what we were doing too, weren't we? We didn't know what we were selling, what the product was, how we wanted to service people. Like that became very challenging.
You've got to have data to have some data. And I think that was the key thing that we realised we can say now.
Yeah.
Why didn't we nail it? But so I think spending that time. So for Lucy, my big tip is to make time. And sometimes it is literally like we did. We booked a weekend away, went to the sunny coast, and we dedicated time to looking at what that actually looks like. Because the minute that you nail that, the minute you get really clear on that, the next step is to get consistency in the messaging. And so your social media posts, your emails, your conversations, your elevator pitch. I love that. So did we answer that for Lucy? How do I get in front of the right audience?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Let us know, Lucy. You know where to find us.
Very good. Thank you very much.
That's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Subscribe, leave us a review, follow us, check us out on Instagram. We're also at collabsolutely.com. So,
thank you. Keep the questions coming.
Keep them coming.
Soon.
See you later.
Bye.
This episode of Collabsolutely was brought to you by the Business Growth Network. Receive 10% off the Momentum membership when you use the coupon code Collabsolutely at checkout.